It started with the little things, the way Emily's phone would buzz, and she'd quickly hide it under her pillow when I walked in. Not a dramatic slam or a toss, just that practice flick, like she was brushing a speck of dust off. After 5 years of marriage, I knew her habits. I knew her routines. But this was different. I came home from work one Friday, my hands still smelling of sawdust and paint from the renovation job I'd been running all week. Emily greeted me with a quick, distracted smile. Not her usual warm "I missed you" look. She went straight to the living room, phone clutched in her hand, and didn't even glance at me. I shrugged it off at first, thinking maybe she was tired, maybe she had a long week. But by Sunday the pattern had settled in. Buzzing phones, hushed whispers, excuses that didn't sit right. That evening I tried to talk to her. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed, and asked casually, "Everything okay? You've been distant." She smiled a tight little smile and said, "I'm fine, just busy with work stuff." Busy, yeah, but why the secrecy? Why the sudden need to hide her screen, to flinch whenever I came near? I told myself I was overreacting, but the knot in my chest grew tighter every day. The real red flag came on Tuesday. I'd been fixing the garage door spring when I noticed her car pulling into the driveway, later than usual. She walked past me without a word, keys jingling, and ducked straight into the house. When I went inside, I noticed her shoes weren't in the usual spot. Her coat was tossed over the chair, not hung up like always. I thought I imagined it, until a small envelope fell from between the couch cushions. A receipt from a restaurant I didn't recognize, dated just last night. My stomach dropped. I tried to brush it off, telling myself I'd ask her later. But later came faster than expected. That night I went into the kitchen to make a coffee, and she walked past, phone in hand, pretending to scroll. But the screen's brightness was too high, showing a conversation I wasn't supposed to see. Just one line was enough. "Can't wait to see you again." My heart sank. That casual, seemingly innocent line confirmed what I'd feared. I didn't confront her immediately. No, I needed to know the full story before saying anything. I had to be sure. So I started paying attention, little details, fleeting glances, hurried texts. The air in the house changed. Every laugh sounded sharper. Every word felt weighed down with secrets. I wasn't naive, but I wanted undeniable proof. And that's when I started planning. I spent the next few days quietly observing, noting every unusual movement. Emily acted normal on the surface, but her small habits told a different story. The way she would leave the room when her phone buzzed, the hurried text replies she typed while pretending to check a recipe, the sudden work calls that conveniently pulled her out of the house for hours. My mind raced, thinking of every possibility, every excuse she could offer. But deep down I knew. Wednesday night was the breaking point. I had come home earlier than usual, telling her I had a meeting canceled. She greeted me warmly, too warmly, almost rehearsed, and then excused herself to take a conference call. I watched as she disappeared into the bedroom, phone in hand, and felt a surge of both anger and heartbreak. This was no longer just secrecy, this was deliberate. I decided it was time to be methodical. I had learned over the years to plan and act with precision. I began by checking the logs, not invasive snooping but subtle observations. What doors opened when the car was parked, the timing of texts. Everything fit into a pattern that pointed to one inescapable truth. Then Friday came. I pretended to leave for work, grabbed my jacket and casually stepped outside, letting her think I was gone. But instead of heading to the shop, I returned quietly, parking a block away. From my vantage point I saw her car pull up, then another car following moments later. My heart sank. A stranger got out, and she welcomed him with that same smile she used to save for me. I watched as they lingered on the porch for a few minutes before slipping inside. Their conversation muted but clearly intimate. That was it. No more speculation, no more wondering. The proof was in front of me, undeniable and raw. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I planned my next moves carefully. I wanted the revelation to be complete, visible to everyone who mattered, not just a quiet accusation between the two of us. I spent the weekend gathering evidence, photographing text messages, noting times, and mentally rehearsing how I would ensure everyone understood exactly what had happened. This wasn't about vengeance for the sake of anger. It was about exposure, the truth coming to light. By Sunday I had my plan. I wasn't going to explode in rage. I would orchestrate a scenario that left no room for denial, no way to hide behind excuses. It was meticulous, deliberate, and necessary. And deep down, I knew this would change everything between us forever. Monday morning, I acted as if everything was normal. I greeted Emily with a casual morning, as she sipped her coffee, trying to mask the storm brewing inside me. She smiled, oblivious to the fact that I knew. I kept my tone calm, my movements natural, all while preparing for the moment when the truth would no longer be hidden. By mid-afternoon, I had arranged for a gathering, nothing extravagant, just a few mutual friends and neighbors. Emily didn't question it. She assumed it was a casual get-together, one of those ordinary evenings she thought I'd forgotten how to plan. She laughed and chatted, unaware that her carefully constructed secret was about to be dismantled. As everyone arrived, I noticed the tension in her eyes when I casually asked, "Emily, could you grab the dessert from the kitchen?" She complied, and that's when I discreetly pulled up the photos and messages I had collected. I didn't need to say a word yet. The evidence spoke for itself. When she returned, I set my phone on the table, the screen showing the text she had sent to the stranger over the past week. Everyone's eyes fell on her, the room silent except for the soft clink of silverware and the hum of the ceiling fan. Emily's face drained of color. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for her phone, probably hoping to delete the proof. But it was too late. I leaned back, voice calm but firm. "Care to explain this?" The room waited, charged with expectation. She stammered, tried to spin a story about work and friends. But the messages, the timestamps, the photos, all told a story that even her words couldn't overwrite. The betrayal was laid bare. The silence that followed was deafening. Friends exchanged glances. Neighbors shifted uncomfortably. I watched as the mask I had once loved so dearly cracked completely. No excuses, no rehearsed smiles. Just the raw weight of truth pressing down. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I simply said, "I promised to love you forever. And you chose someone else." Her tears came then, a mixture of guilt and shock. I turned to the room, letting everyone see what had been hidden behind closed doors for too long. It wasn't about humiliation. It was about acknowledgement, accountability, and closure. By the time the night ended, Emily's affair was no longer her secret, and our marriage could no longer continue as it had. I left the gathering with a strange mix of sorrow and relief. The betrayal had been exposed, and though the pain would linger, the truth had finally taken its place.